faith and hope and bravery, like these qualities that we want to have but can be so difficult to hold on to. I just really think that's going to be more of who we actually are when we're in heaven, but we get to practice it now.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Stories from 100 Days to Brave, a podcast where we hear real stories of friends who took the brave first steps to become who they truly are. I'm your host, Annie F. Downs. Today, we're going to talk about the link between bravery and hope, which matters so much to me. Many of us look at hope as an idea that says we're going to get 100% of what we want in life, but we don't live in a perfect world. But you know what's awesome? We can choose to live in this imperfect world and keep our hearts open to looking for love and joy. And yes, we might see some of our hopes come true, but transforming our hopes into reality takes a lot of work, and we might have to listen when we don't want to. We might have to be vulnerable and open and honest, even if we might get hurt. Easier said than done, right? Well, our brave story today comes from Amber Fuentes, who shows us what can happen when we're willing to explore how to be brave enough to be open and vulnerable to allow new possibilities to enter our lives. Amber experienced an abusive situation early in her life, and so she learned that trusting others and being vulnerable led to pain and betrayal. She often defaulted to running away if she saw even a hint that someone was going to reject her. When Amber learned to trust God with her future, she was finally able to take those brave first steps to see what was possible in her relationships and open herself up to allowing these hopes and desires to come alive.
My name is Amber Fuentes, formerly Dixon, and I grew up in Southern Oregon, and now I'm teaching English language development in Central California. I remember when I was a kid wanting to be a teacher, but I also wanted to be a dancer and a singer and an actress and all the things. And when I went to college, I had actually walked away from the Lord that summer going into my freshman year of college. And I actually remember telling him that we are done. I don't see you in my life. I don't see you doing what I'm wanting. I was living in difficult situations with just not getting along with people and having a hard time with my family. And I had a friend that I was telling something really important to, and he just basically rejected me. And it wasn't anything romantic. It was me telling him about a past abuse that had happened. And from that moment, I just felt so crushed. And I felt like the Lord wasn't taking care of me. I actually came back to him during my first year at Cotty College in Nevada, Missouri, all girls school. Shout out for them because I'm so grateful. I met some really amazing people that are friends for life. They helped bring me back to the Lord during that time. That time frame was so interesting because I was struggling academically. I was struggling with just being comfortable with people. And one of my friends noticed the first time that I didn't ask if I could join them, which was really interesting. Like join them for one of the dinners or breakfasts or whatever. Like I had just gotten up and walked with them. She stopped and she was like, Amber. I was like, what? She's like, do you realize what you just did? She's like, I'm so proud of you for not asking to join us, that you are finally understanding that you're welcomed. It makes me want to cry too, looking back at it. I was so unaware that I thought that I had asked for permission to be present. So it took a while. I was afraid of men, obviously, for like clear reasons. And here I went to an all-girls school, so I became very comfortable and loved being around women, but I discovered that I had a hard time with men. And so one of the counselors at the school that was trying to help me out with my academics and my studying habits, she noticed this because I was struggling with a math class. And I told her, the math teacher seems great. I just can't talk to him. And she's like, well, why? Why wouldn't you be able to talk to him? And I said, he's like a younger guy. And I don't know. I don't talk well with younger guys. And so he must have been someone that had just graduated himself and became a teacher, because he wasn't that far removed from how old we were as women. He was married, but it didn't matter. Like he was still scary to me. So she got me in to see a therapist at the school. And then that's when I was able to start talking more about everything. So I actually took time off after college. It was just a 2-year school, so I finished it out, but I ended up doing some work to earn money to go to a school of discipleship to get closer with the Lord because I was so afraid of walking away from him again. I didn't want to walk away from him ever again. So I did that and ended up helping out some family for a while. And I was living in Palm Desert, California, acting as a caregiver for family members and just helping out. And I made a New Year's resolution, and maybe like Annie F. Down says, like an experiment. And I wanted to read one book a month. And I rediscovered how much I loved history and English. And I ended up going back to school. And I was making all these plans, and I was thinking, why am I so afraid to be a teacher? I should just stop being so afraid and actually just. So I've been wrestling with fear for a long time. So I went back to school older. I think I was about 28 or 29 and finished school and had some crazy stuff happen, but ended up in San Diego, which is when I met Carlos and when I started reading 100 Days to Brave. The 100 Days to Brave, I think, was so attractive to me because of what I had initially started when I had gone back to the Lord. And I had always desired to be brave and just to be bold and fearless. And I thought that meant not having any fear at all. I thought that meant just like being bold 24/7 and just not having that nervousness. So I was living in San Diego, California area, teaching at a Christian private school. And I had gone up to visit my sister-in-law in Portland, Oregon. And she wanted to see my Christian Mingle account, which she had been telling me for years to try Christian Mingle. So I finally had been trying it. And she said, well, Amber, you only have it set for meeting people in San Diego. But if you were to meet someone that you actually love, you would move for them, wouldn't you? I said, well, yeah, I guess I would. I was like, I was really looking forward to staying in San Diego, but sure, I guess I would. So she went ahead and like opened it for like the whole world. I'm pretty sure she just like kept it like no miles being an issue. So it was like, you go anywhere, right? I'm like, and so that weekend is when I saw his picture because it popped up as a possibility. And I just thought, gosh, he's really cute. And he has such a nice smile. And based off of what he had written in his profile, I was like, okay, maybe. So I just sent like a smile to him. His love for the Lord was very obvious to me, and that was just really big on my list. And I just wanted to keep talking to him. So I never really dated anyone before as far as being in a relationship. And this is just being completely truthful. Like trying eHarmony or trying any sort of online thing is a little bit scary because you don't know what you're going to get. So we had our first date, which was like a whole day date because we met in the middle. Carlos and I had gone to the harbor and spent some time on the beach, and we just kind of laid it all out. We talked about a lot of things. Talked about his past, talked about my past, and what we were both hoping for, and our relationship with the Lord. We just laid it out. And we ended up talking all the way to sunset. As I was driving home, Carlos had called me to make sure that I was making it okay. And I just then and there asked him to come to Christmas. And he said he would love to. So we got to spend Christmas together, which ended up me getting to meet his family. So all of it was a lot all at once. And that's probably where somewhat of a burnout may have happened, where Carlos was also very tired and busy and also pursuing me. And being long distance, it was really hard to keep the relationship going at times. As far as I would say, one thing that I've learned is that you can't fix things when you're too tired, or when you are texting, or sometimes even over the phone, because Carlos and I got into kind of a weird argument that I don't even remember how it started, to be honest. Like, I just remember I was driving to the desert and he and I were talking, and he was so, felt like argumentative with me. And I was getting really offensive and not understanding what was happening. And then we tried texting about it later, which is where it ended up, where I thought, oh, he doesn't want me anymore. Like, this is like, he doesn't actually want this, and he just wants an out. And so I told him, like, okay, if you don't want this, like, we can be done. We'll just be completely done. And I honestly don't remember what he had said. I know he was upset too. He probably was thinking, like, oh, she'll just, I know he was thinking she'll calm down later and everything will be fine. But when I unplug from someone, like, I just completely unplug. So I was like, okay, so we're done. I'll just make it easy for you. Like, we're over. That was once again the fear setting in again, and the rejection. So I just ran away. Funny enough, the Lord, I had gone on a trip with my international students from the Christian school, and I had never taken this route before when I first had gone to see Carlos for our first date. And it wasn't a route I would normally take to go see him. I mean, that road I don't remember being on before. But when I was on the trip with the international students, I ended up coming down that road again. And I just really felt the Lord, like, he was there and just kind of reminding me, like, reminding me of my excitement and my interest in him, and the love that I was feeling for him that I was afraid to admit, and all those different things. And I just got to have some time with the Lord, just praying and asking him, like, is this okay that I'm having these thoughts about him? Is this okay that I'm missing him and that I'm really thinking about him being on this road? And I just felt a peace and also a little flutter, because I decided to go ahead and text him. And so I texted Carlos, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said something along the lines of, like, hoping that he was doing well. I don't remember saying if I missed him or not. Like, I was trying to be careful, because if he had moved on, I didn't want him to feel bad. So I just wanted to let him know that I had good thoughts towards him. And so I sent him something like that. And I might have said that I missed him. I just don't remember. But he responded quicker than I thought he would. I thought maybe I would hear from him in a day or two. But he ended up texting me a few hours later. And we just kept texting back and forth. And so we just ended up talking, and he said that he wanted to come and see me as soon as possible. And so he made a plan to come and see me in a week. That's when he came to San Diego, and he brought me two different sets, dozens of roses. One for Valentine's Day that he had missed, and one as an apology for us having this misunderstanding. And during that day, we laid it all out again. Like, we kind of talked more about what was happening, why I reacted the way that I reacted, how I run from people, how when I feel like there's rejection, I just close shop. We're just kind of talking about, like, how hard it was growing up. And we both had some things in common about what we had gone through. And he and I both just discussed about how maybe our relationship is going to be a picture of God's restoration. I think I was listening to one of Annie's podcasts. I think a couple was talking about what their theme was in their relationship. And I remember talking to Carlos about that and telling him maybe our theme is going to be restoration. And he agreed, like, he thought that was true for his own life, and true for where we were as a couple. And he told me that he he knew that he wanted to marry me. And I told him, like, I know I've been wanting to marry you too. So we both discussed marriage, and it seems all very fast. And looking back, I'm like, wow, this was really fast. We were sort of unofficially engaged. When you have courage, you also have fear. Like, that makes sense. But I didn't really start living that or noticing that until, like, as I was reading 100 Days to Brave and going through this process of dating him, talking to him, breaking up with him, getting back together with him, and then discussing marriage. I was realizing, wow, like, this is something that you do have to take one step at a time with. And it's not that bravery looks like a superhero 24/7. Like, sometimes bravery for me is when I'm being sober minded and reminding myself my husband loves me, even when he's frustrated with me, even when I make a big mistake. Just like how I love him even when he makes a big mistake or says something that he shouldn't say. It just has really helped. The day before my wedding is when I read day 57, the When You Hold On. And I was reading it again this morning just to kind of refresh my memory. And it says, "Hold on to hope, love," that song from Amy Stroop. And I was like, wow, Lord, you have been just weaving your story through my story this entire time. Reading that was a really good reminder for the day before my wedding that, wow, I almost let him go. Because of my own fear, was willing to miss out on him. And I'm so grateful that I'm not missing out on him. It's so weird, but I'm so grateful. And he's just such an amazing man. And I'm so grateful that we get to love each other while we're both flawed here on earth. And we get to grow. And our love is growing for each other. And I feel like that bravery, the desire to be brave, to me feels like an echo call from the Lord. And like, this is going to be your language when we're in heaven. When we're with the Lord, when we are really our truest self, which I think is great that we get to pursue it here, but I really believe that truest self that we are desiring to become is going to be in full-fledged fruition when we're with the Lord.
Man, how many times have we just wanted to run away or shut down our feelings to avoid getting hurt? And how brave was it for Amber to break through that fear, the feeling that had served her for so long, the one she thought was making her strong, but was really keeping her from fully experiencing both pain and joy. Keeping your heart open takes courage. Sometimes the bravest choice can be listening to that still small voice that tells you to call that person you've fallen away from, or put aside your fear of being hurt to be able to be in someone's life who deserves that second chance. We've all been given second chances, haven't we? I know I have, and third and fourth and fifth. God is so good like that. I love looking back and remembering the times I may have royally screwed up. Well, I don't love looking at those, but what I love looking at is how his grace extended toward me, telling me it's okay and we can start again. Looking back over my journals, I can see the way those second, third, fourth chances have played out. You guys, journaling is amazing for that very reason. And I think it's so important that I actually created a journal to help you get started on your brave journey. It's called the 100 Days to Brave Guided Journal. In this journal, I've pulled together my favorite thoughts on bravery and courage, and I ask you some questions to help you see where God might be extending grace in your life so that you can look back and reflect on his goodness. And for 100 days, you take yourself on this reflective journey, and I bet when you're done, you'll discover something that God wants you to see. That's the secret sauce, you guys. Finishing the 100 days is the secret. And that's what happens when we look for God. He shows up for us. So you can find the 100 Days to Brave guided journal anywhere you buy books. And I hope you'll check it out and get a copy for someone that you love. Hey, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about this episode and this particular story. You can tag me, Annie F. Downs. That's how you find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere you want to find me. That's how you can find me, Annie F. Downs. So use the hashtags stories from 100 Days to Brave and 100 Days to Brave. They're in the show notes, and use the actual number 100. And if you want, we'd love for you to share this story. Maybe there's something you're facing that you'd way rather just run from. My prayer, really, I'm stopping and thinking of you and praying if you're listening, that you'll search your heart for that and see if there's an answer, or see if the braver move would be to not run away and just stay. You can trust God that He'll guide you through that. I'm so glad you joined us today, friend. We will see you next time.